So for your in-book homework, I don't care if you just put it right. In fact, I probably prefer it if you just do it on your worksheet. Do that.
And staple it.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll figure out.
Okay. So this should be a review from last year or 2 years ago for some of you. We are going to hammer out the unit conversions again. And we need to get good at unit conversions. Not so much because, you know, I want to make it more difficult when some of you can probably just move the decimal so many places. Okay, there's a reason why I'm setting this up, because sometimes we need to convert units that aren't on the metric scale. Okay, when we get to chapter 9, the fun little stoichiometry chapter, okay, we'll do 3 consecutive conversions, and none of them are metric scale conversions. They're periodic table conversions with numbers that are not whole numbers and all sorts of fun stuff like that. Okay? So, the reason why I spend so much time hitting this stuff now is not because I'm like, I just want to make something more difficult for you when it comes to, you know, you guys probably can move the decimal a lot better or a lot quicker. Okay? I'm doing this now because I know later you've got to be able to know how to convert units, and when you get to college, you take some upper level classes, you need to be able to set it up correctly and do the math correctly with units. Okay? So, bear with me, we'll be fine. Anybody not have a calculator? Calculator. Alright, pull them out. You should have your note packet out. You're going to actually have to fill stuff out in your note packet, unlike what you usually do. Cut?
Oops. Sorry.
Alright, very first thing. Do you have this in your notes? Yes?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, you have to memorize it.
What?
No.
I'm going to highlight the ones that are most important though. Those ones.
So basically just memorize those.
You might throw a couple in there. This is Mr. Fairwood.
I probably won't put those middle 3 there on a test or a quiz, but you might see them on a homework. If that makes any sense.
Well, you did say probably.
And you could, you know, guys, it's really easy just to make an acronym of this, you know. My kind hero.
My kind cat.
What?
What? That's an H. Oh, what is it for this? I remember.
I was looking at the
I
sentence.
memorized it in physical science.
Yeah. Anyway.
I was looking at the stars, okay?
Oh, the stars. Okay. My kind cat must
Made me
made me
milk.
made me milk. Where's the triple
Made
A?
me narc.
Made you narc. Good. Made you a narcissist. Okay. All right. Okay. Again, I'm pretty sure in physical science I gave this to you. I will not give it to you because this is useful information. We will use it in multiple classes. Okay. So just know it. If you notice here, it might help you to notice a trend that jumps by 3 of those. Jumps by 3. The only one that doesn't is going to be your centi to milli. Okay? Cool? Alright, let's do it. Alright, so I'm not going to get too crazy about this vocab stuff here. Unit conversion, get it? It usually involves some multiplication and some conversion factor. Okay, well, what is a conversion factor? A conversion factor is a fraction that takes 2 different units and is the equivalence of the both. So for example, if I have a foot and I wanted to convert 2 feet from inches, how many inches are in a foot?
12.
Okay, do you see how different units? But those 2 units are equivalent with those numbers. 1 foot equals 12 inches. Okay, so if I wanted to do yards, this would be a yard conversion factor. Let's do just feet to yards. For every 1 foot, that's not going to be the best way to do that.
Whoa! 1 yard. 1 yard
Okay,
there.
every 1 yard, there are
3 feet.
3
Now notice, these have to be equivalent. If they're not equivalent, when you do the conversion factor, you're not going to get an equivalent number spit back at you. That makes sense?
Yep.
Okay, so essentially what you'd be doing is if I've got 32 feet, let's make it an easy one. 33 feet. Units have to cancel like numbers cancel in math.
But that's the opposite.
Okay? So this would be on top, this would be up dividing, right? Multiplying, dividing, they undo each other. Just like if you were doing fractions, like, and I guess love fractions, 8 over 3 times 1 over 8. 1 over 3. It's done the exact same way. Okay, so it's not earth-shattering rocket science here. I'm just trying to show you that the numbers in the conversion factor, this whole thing here, what you call the conversion factor, the numbers in units, okay, got to be equivalent. They got to equal each other. Right? You with me, Brevin?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, bridge notation is simply taking multiple conversion factors. It's going further. Okay. All right, let's convert.
I'm so cold.
Wearing a sweatshirt.
Want my coat?
Wait, we just do one.
People think it's gross to wear my coat.
No, I just.
I feel like people think that.
I don't think it's gross.
You want to wear my coat, Marty?
Well,
I would be honored if you wore my coat.
Really? That's rice.
Okay. So, anybody remember from physical science, you always start with what?
The small, the
I
big.
can't remember.
What you've been given. What have you been given, guys?
1, 2,
1, 2, 3. I've been given 1, 2, 3.
fake.
I thought it was just
Okay,
120.
so you always write what you've been given. The value you've been given.
Why is the L big?
It's second letter. I don't know.
Mr. Graham, you need a snap swivel?
What?
Uh-uh.
This,
What is it?
You made a bracelet out of fishing swivels.
I did it last night.
That's
This
awesome.
one's like the one that's off. It's like a-
That's an actual. Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Why did you
Oh, I went fishing
I don't know,
on
Trinity, I don't do anything.
Saturday with my dad up in North Dakota. We caught in like 3 hours. We caught like
Went to the
15
Renaissance
morsels.
No way.
I heard those were just vicious. They were just like
I
come
said, I don't do
down.
my homework.
You knew when they hit because it was like, oh, wham!
It's not-
It was
I said
fun.
it's
It was
not-
all ass.
No.
And then there was one time where I was like literally a foot from pulling it out of the water. I could see my lure. I'm ready to pull it out, and all of a sudden this big old mortal just comes, just wham!
Eat the
It
trash.
hits it like a foot or 2 feet from the boat.
No, my
It was great.
Can we finish the problem?
Sorry. Anyways, that was
It's not like,
Okay, so milliliters to liters. We're going to set up a conversion factor here. This is not going to be a bridge notation. Here's how you know if it's a bridge notation problem. What did I say bridge notation was? Multiple conversions. Okay? Multiple, I would need 2 or more conversion factors. Okay, this is just one. You only need one if you go from a prefixed unit to a base unit. Does anybody know the difference between a prefixed unit and a base unit? How do you know the
base unit
difference?
has no prefix in front of it. It's one of what?
Yeah, it's just the typical unit, right? A liter. If you put a second letter with it, it's got a prefix. So kiloliter, centiliter, microliter, nanoliter, those are all prefixed units. What is the base of all of those?
Liter.
A liter. If I've got a kilogram, a centigram, a microgram, a nanogram, what's the base? Gram. That make sense? Okay. This is where it gets a little confusing, but before we put in the numbers that are kind of a little bit different than what you might expect, let's put the units where they need to go so that they would cancel.
You put the milliliters on the bottom, and then you put a 1 in front of it.
Why would I need to put the milliliters on the bottom?
Because you divide.
Because I have to cancel milliliters out. And what am I going to then?
10 to the negative third.
Well, not numbers yet, just units. Okay, do you see how milliliters had to go on bottom to cancel out, and we have to end up with where we're going? Okay, it needs to be on top. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky. You're gonna want to put this somewhere in your notes because everyone seems to forget.
I can't see that. It's like blurry.
The 1 always what?
Goes with the prefix.
AKA always goes with the double unit, or the double lettered unit. Now, this only works for metric conversions, but most of this, all the stuff we're gonna, 90% of the stuff we're gonna do in this chapter are metric conversions. Is that gonna work with like inches to feet?
No.
Those don't have any prefix with them, do they?
Not metric.
Okay? So, prefix is only when we're doing metric conversions. Okay, so which one is the prefix unit here?
Milliliters.
Okay, there will always be a 1 in your metric conversions because they're base 10. You can always simplify down to a 1. Now, this is where it gets a little confusing. We have to put a factor up here, 10 to the something. What is it?
Negative 30, yeah.
And the reason it's -3 because milli is -3. So don't think that you got to put 10 to the -3 with the milliliter. It's opposite that. Because a liter is a much bigger unit than a milliliter. I could have you memorize all the numbers that go with it, but it's easier just to memorize the factors. Okay? Now, listen very carefully. This is what students do a lot. They go, oh, the 1 always goes on bottom. That's false. The 1 always goes with what?
The prefix unit.
What if I started with 12 liters? Then if I set it up, liters would be on bottom, milliliters would be on top. Now where does your 1 go?
On the top.
On top. Okay, this is very important. Right? Alright. Now, I know you guys can just move the decimal pretty easily here, but you're going to have to show your work on a quiz or a test because you need to be able to set this up. You have to. It's important come later. Okay? If you want to just set it up and then in your head move the decimal, fine. But you guys still have to show me your work, okay? I'm not trying to be just a big meanie. I'm telling you, you got to be good at this for later. When it's not metric stuff. Okay, so we got 1.238 milliliters. Does that sound right?
Yep.
Everyone got that done?
No.
You didn't get that, or you just didn't do it? Alright, so there's your answer. Simple one-step conversions aren't too bad. So let's see how, why don't you guys try this one? When you have it, raise your hand. I will come see if you did it right. Show your work, please.
Hold on, we got a little pit stop.
You need to get batteries. Do you have new batteries sitting there?
Yeah.
Wow, look at this guy.
Test her out. There she is. Woo! I would put 2 batteries in that. You sound just like your dad.
He's a nice one.
I was gonna set up all these. I'm thinking.
And we'll do sig figs in a couple days, so be ready for that.
Oh. There we go.
I did sig figs on the test even though we didn't even have to do it.
I did
So
too.
did I.
I did not.
This is the second one?
I tried to do it.
Well, you had to though.
That's what you're starting with. Yeah.
But it didn't
By
say
the
it's
loss of
beginning.
silence.
He said at the beginning of the year, he's like, I don't care if
But
that's
he
or
doesn't
not.
want-
That's what it would be if you just
He
had
like
this,
wouldn't
but
know
you gotta
how to
start
do
with what you've been given.
Nah, you guess.
You start with this number, and then you set up
So I
your
was like,
units,
okay.
and multiply or divide accordingly. So,
I feel like
Start with
that took so
that.
long to go.
you would start with that, you put it just like this. You'd start with it, then you'd set your conversion factor up next to it. Have the unit set up correctly. And then depending upon whether it's a base or a prefix you start with will determine whether you multiply or divide it. Does that make sense? So yes, that conversion is 1,000 conversion, but you might have to multiply, you might have to divide it, depending upon how your units work out. Does that make sense? just start with it and I'll come back.
Whoa, let's go home.
Yep.
Hey.
For the second one, shh. For the second one, I'm gonna have you do. Make sure you put it in scientific notation and you put parentheses around it. Only because when you're putting in your calculator. Yes, do the next one.
No, that's not one.
We're starting with kilograms. Converting to grams. Yep. Yep. So kilograms. Yep. Right number.
I never heard that expression. You've never heard putting all your eggs in one basket.
Anybody else got done right now? I want to
Okay,
say. No. We don't have time to talk about side topics.
Is there a way you can make it do scientific notation on this
Okay, so you look at the prefix. So there's a
You
small k right there.
Okay,
I get it. So the small k is kilo.
I get it.
Times it is.
I get it.
Times the third. Hurry up.
My calculator is taking a while, right?
Sure.
Let's see if it works now.
It's like, I want to get involved. Okay, yeah, that's right. That was right too. Just put it in or not.
Woo!
I think that's right.
Oh wait, do you want to check all these?
Another pit stop. Another keyboard.
Okay, the fourth one on here is a double conversion,
So
so.
what's the third one?
The third one is too.
How many keyboards do you have?
Yeah. Centimeters to kilometers.
That one's the fourth one. The first one I did with you.
Working now.
Oh, you're right.
Yes, good job. I'll try that one. Yep. Okay, I would prefer you just hold up. Maybe if you want to try to do the next one, fine. But,
The next one.
To where?
yep, you can try doing the like centimeters to kilometers if you want. But that one I'd like to spend some time showing you. It's a double one, just to make sure you know what you're doing.
Wait.
Put a unit on it. I want to know what that is. Okay. How did you set this up? Okay, so here's what you're going to do. You need to start with what you're given.
Back.
Is this 5,694 grams? And the conversion factor. Okay, where the units go? The unit goes where? 5, 6, 9, 4. No, it's right here. We don't want to put it on the top. Okay, and what goes up here?
Figure it out.
So I want to see that you can get these set up so that they cancel. Like this. Does that make sense? Okay, I need to make sure you know that you're canceling. No, you divide. Divide. Yep. Just, wait, no. Okay, wow, this is killing me. Yeah, is that how I wrote it? You would divide, but that was wrong. So if it's on top, if the factor's on top, you multiply, or the factor's on bottom, you divide. Does that make sense? Yeah, that is the right answer, but I do want to make sure you can set it up correctly.
Yeah, well, I got.
You would check the one.
I have two.
How do you know if it was the topic? Oh, did you? Like, how do you know which one doesn't pass?
This is nanometers, it needs to cross out, so the nanometers
Yep.
needs to be on the box.
So, yep, so you know that this number is this many nanometers.
See that one?
So you put nanometers next to the number, you'll know what
Where's
the
that?
conversion factor. Where's your console? So let's go back to this one. So this was kilograms, because that's what it gave you. So your kilograms have to cancel out. So that's why the kilograms of the conversion factor has to be on bottom, like in math, you have to divide to undo something,
Oh,
right?
well, like, so the bigger one is like the top,
What do you mean by bigger one?
so like this is.
No, if I started with grams here, then grams would be on bottom. That makes sense. So it's always based on what
Is it the one, the
you've
first
been
one goes
given.
in the bottom then?
Sure, yes, you can
Oh,
look at it
okay.
that way.
Okay.
For a double one, then you're gonna wanna look, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.
What does this mean?
10 to the negative third, 4.
Like this.
Yes, in a sec here. You can either leave it like that or change this if you want. If you're gonna leave it like this, put parentheses around it. Otherwise, it won't read it right. But then nanometer, 1 nanometer, yep, that should be right. That's right, yep. Looks good, Natalie. Okay, I'm seeing most of you guys are doing fairly good. I want to quickly note, you will always know what goes here by looking at what you start with. Everyone eyes up here. Stop moving on. This is important. Stop. You will always know what unit goes here based on what, because you have to cancel it out mathematically. If we had a second conversion factor, then we would have to cancel out this, so that would go on bottom, which is what we're going to do here in a sec on this next one we're going to do, okay? So, shall we, hopefully you can pick this up as we do the second two conversions and just realize it's simpler doing one. So, not this one, that one. Okay, so how do I know it's a double conversion then? Prefix to prefix. The single conversions are always one is a prefix, one is a base. Okay? So this is what we would call a bridge notation. Done the exact same way from a standpoint of we always start with what?
The information.
What we've been given. Okay, it's important that I put the unit with it, because that unit's going to tell us everything. Essentially, the units kind of give you the breadcrumbs that you follow when you're doing these. It's a little trail they leave you. Okay? Now, I've already said that a prefix to a prefix is a two conversion factor problem. So I'm just going to set up those two conversions right next to each other and worry about filling them in when I get there. Following? What'd you say, Tanner? Oh, I thought you said something. Okay? When it's a double conversion, what you have to do is take the first prefix, convert it to the base, and then from the base to the other prefix. Okay? Because all these conversions are based on going to the base. What is the base unit in this case? A meter. So a meter is the base. You convert centimeters to meters, and then meters to kilometers. Okay? So let's take it one step at a time. Guys, in fact, why don't we put all the units in first, and we'll deal with it later, just to show you that you can figure out how to do this by following the units. What unit goes here? Centimeters, and the reason why you always look up to figure out what you have to cancel out. Okay? And you should always have a base with your prefix for every conversion. So what is it? Meters. Okay? So do you see how a centimeter and a centimeter would cancel? So what I'm doing is I will be converting to meters. Now, what goes here?
There.
How do you know it's a meter?
Because you're converting to meters and you can.
Look at what I look up.
I put ground.
Everyone see that?
Yeah.
You always know by what you have to cancel out. So look back it up. I'm kind of making a mess out of my stuff here, but okay. And then I know that I'm solving for what?
A kilometer.
So if you look at this, centimeters cancels, meters cancels. What I'm left with the unit I want. And now I just got to put in the numbers and do the math. That make sense? We said the one always goes with what?
Prefix.
Boom, boom. Is it anything? Did you have to think? Well, the one is always on bottom, or the one? No, it's not. Figure out where the prefix unit is. That's why it's important that I think you just do the units right away. Just figure out what the breadcrumb trail tells us. Okay? Now, each of these are going to be factors, but they're different factors. What's here?
That would be 10 to the negative second.
-2. And where does that come from? How do we know that's a -2? Centi is what I'm dealing with here. So you look at your chart and figure out what centi is. Okay? Kilo is the prefix here, so 10 to the
Third.
All right, now,
Which is so easy.
when you're doing this, any factor that's on top, you what? Multiply. Any factor that's on bottom, you what? Divide. So this is how I would plug it into my calculator. I would go this number times this. I would click solve. Then divide by this. You could do it all at once, but you got to figure out how parentheses work on your calculator and things like that.
I did it, so.
Okay? So the answer is what? I want everyone to do this to make sure that they can get this.
3.
I don't think.
That's an excellent.
Yeah.
Should be 1 point something.
0.3251.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
And what is my unit for this?
That's gonna be a kilogram. Kilometer.
Kilogram.
Kilometer.
Kilometer.
Now.
Kilometer.
Now this one isn't as easy to just move the decimal. So, yes.
Okay, I have a question.
10 to the times 10 to the negative 5. Yep. All right. Next one. Now we're not going to get through all of them. Honestly, the last couple are just like converting years to seconds. That's just doing a bunch of conversion factors and figuring it out. Okay. You guys could probably do that. In fact, you could just Google conversions from years to seconds and use one conversion and be good. Okay. Again, another double one here. How do I know it's a double one?
Because we both have 3.
2 prefixes. Start with what you're given. I'm going to set up my 2 prefixes because I already know 2 prefixes. Okay. Rachel, could you help me out with the units of the first conversion? MG's on bottom because it has to cancel out with what came before. Brevin, could you do the next units?
Grand.
And?
Kilogram.
And you knew grams was here, why?
Because look up, it's a gram.
It has to cancel with what's up there. So this would cancel, I would be left with kilograms, which is what I want. Now we gotta put in numbers. Gwendolyn, could you tell me where the numbers go? Sorry, what? One always goes with the prefix units. So where are the prefix units up here? Which ones are the prefix units? Kilograms, one of them. Where's the other one? Where's the other prefix unit in that one? Yeah. Did I miss? Sorry, did you say that? I just didn't hear you.
No, I didn't say it. Like, why is that?
It has a double letter. A prefix is like, I don't know English very well, so this is going to be difficult, but any of the, so these are all prefixes, like mega, kilo, hecto, deca, all those are prefixes. They come before the base. And so it will always be the double lettered ones. So like, kilo is the prefix, milli is the prefix, grams would be your base. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay? So then it'll be 1 and 1. Now what goes in here?
10 to the
10 to the
negative
3,
-3.
because that's what milla is if you look at your table. And kilo is 10 to the, what's kilo? So I would, this times this divided by this should give you a pretty small number.
It's 3.5. What's the capital?
If you see E on your calculator, what it means is times 10.
Oh. Oh, so that's scientific.
Yes. So if you get 3.5 E to the
-4.
-4, that is this. 3.5 times 10 to the -4. So E is times 10. Worksheet, yes. If you're still struggling, come work with me. This is really important for future success. So, please, I don't bite, I will help you. Usually it takes 5 minutes to figure out what it is that's a misconception.
That was a misconception. Oh my
goodness.
Are you guys doing the fruit? Kramer, why did you grade it?
Hey Tyler, it is fine.
Kramer. No, I can feel that you're doing great.
Oh, we just did it.
Kramer,
Oh,
he might have
that's actually impressive. How did you know that?
Three things so much. There was one of the answers there was 8, 9, 7, and I was like, hey, you can only go up to 0.6 because it's
radio or
high.
something like that.
And so I rounded to 6.29. Because I didn't realize that second was a 100 scale instead of a 60 scale. No, I mean, I realize that now. Holy.
Well, seconds.
But I
You have like billion seconds.
My brain was fried so
There's not one a second.
yeah, because like a minute if you have
If that's
it was so bad.
And
I divided.
That's gonna have my money better. I'm always like,
Shall we?
batteries and I'm like,
I divided when I was supposed to. It's like 3 answers.
So you're saying I'm gonna grade them and just
You can laugh. yeah, like mine.
okay. Don't before you make that comment. Let me tell you how my weekend went. What do you need, Emily?
Yeah, mine will definitely say and laugh.
don't act like you
The second one, I put the right answer,
I was so
then
busy.
crossed it out. I put the wrong answer.
I remember hearing
the last one, I put the right answer, then didn't cross it out, but instead put the right answer and circled it.
Kramer, why is your room an ice box? Is this a
Cold.
Where my
experiment?
heart used to be.
Why?
off the
You're
sacrifice.
Because you're too hot, you gotta take it. Oh, and the one where it was like you draw a straight line between the two, and it was distance. I put displacement, or I mean it was displacement, and I put distance. There was a lot of weird concepts. I really wanted to ask you. Like, you need to throw out like whole seconds. And it's like,
You know what I'm saying?
I missed this
Really
stupid.
does.
So why do you make meter false or is it going faster?
I'm a big
Sally is
Whoa!
you don't have that big of a
Sally's gonna get a Roy B.
Well, it's inside of a
Roy B.
Kramer, did you say our grades were overall pretty good?
Sure.
He has not right
He hasn't graded us.
You haven't?
I got home
Okay,
from
good.
my trip at 8:30 last night.
Oh, that's
My brother's wedding in North Dakota, 10 hours away. So Sunday, I didn't drive 10 hours because we went back to my parents. I only drove 7 hours. So I drove 7 hours Sunday night, got back 8:30, and then I got things unpacked and my kids to bed, and it was 9:30, and I was like, should I go grab the test and start grading them? And then I realized that I have over 100 tests to grade.
Yeah, it's
So,
Every class.
that would have taken me probably
What'd you do this morning?
3.5 hours
What did you do this morning?
We should all.
I want to
to prepare
know.
for today.
That is garbage. You should have been prepared already.
But you're saying I should have been here at 4 in the morning?
You should have done this last week. Prepared for this next week, last week before you left Friday after school. Self-discipline, Kramer.
I'll just grade everything for you.
Grade in class. Grade in class.
So, I knew that I was going to hear the wrath of my students, but I'm so used to it, I don't care.
There's a whole concept just here.
What about the science sheet?
She's out her locker.
Because we're and I was like, we're not allowed to go to our lockers or the bathroom.
Lauren's gonna know me
So she was like, that's weird.
Oh, she already said,
I
she already
know,
said.
I'll definitely pass the talk.
Hi, Lauren! Shoot, did I forget to shut that off? Darn it!
Oh, that whole guy.
That is for
I was shocked by
the single.